Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to our Android tip calculator tutorial. Okay, so this is what we have. Tip works properly. Tax almost works properly. The grand total shows the proper amount. The split bill does not. So we have to make sure that the split bill takes into account tax properly. Now I want to show you an example. Let's say this guy ordered $10 worth of stuff, whereas this guy ordered $40. And the tax is, let's go ahead and make this 0 to make it easier, make the tip 0. And the tax is $10, okay? How do we allocate the tax properly? What we don't want to do is allocate it 50-50. So customer 1, $5. Customer 2, $5. We don't want to do that. That's a bad way to do it, because that's not fair to customer 1. He didn't order nearly as much stuff, so he should not pay as much tax. What we want to do is make it proportional to whatever their order was. So customer 1, he only ordered 1/5 of the total bill, so he should only have to pay 1/5 of $10. So he should only pay $2, and customer 2 should only pay $8. So how did I get those amounts? Well, the total bill right here, 10 plus 40, that's $50, okay? Customer 1 has $10, so 10 divided by 50 equals 20%. Customer 2 has 40, so 40 divided by 50 equals 80%. That means customer 1 should only pay 80% of the bill, customer 2 should only pay, or should pay 80%. Sorry, customer 1 should pay 20% of the bill, customer 2 should pay 80%. But how do we get that to work in code? Personally, I think the best way to do this is to get the percentage of the tip. In other words, let's take the tip, which is $10, and divide it by 50. And that gives us 20, or 0.2. Okay, and that's the tip percentage. And then we take that and multiply each person's bill by that. So 10 for customer 1 times 0.2 is equal to 2, and 40 times 0.2 is equal to 8. And now we have what proportion of the tax each customer should pay. So the trick is we need to get the tax percentage, and then apply that percentage to each person's individual bill. Now if you go and search up restaurant bill on Google and look at images, you'll notice that most receipts do not include the actual tax percentage. So usually when you get your bill back, right there, it just says taxes and then an absolute value there. It doesn't say the percent. So the customer probably is not going to have access to the percent. That's why we're only giving them an edit text for the absolute value to put here. We're going to have to calculate the percent ourselves in our code. The other benefit for this is if you have something like a gratuity, the gratuity will often, wow, that's really blurry. I don't know, if you have like another charge like right here, you can just add that to, you can just put that in for the tax instead, and then set tip to 0%, and then get the proper split bill down here. Okay, so let's go figure this out. Go back into the code. So like I said, we need to calculate the tax percentage. You might notice that I've reordered some stuff in the code, but nothing has changed majorly. Anyway, new double, and we'll call it tax percent value. And we'll set it up to be 0 at the start. And we'll go ahead and scroll down to calculate grand total here. And we're going to just do this. Tax percent value is equal to the tax divided by grand total. So up here, we calculate the grand total, and we already have tax percent, or we already have the tax in absolute numbers. So tax percent is equal to tax divided grand total. And that was the first part of our calculation, 10 divided by 50. And now that we have tax percentage, let's go and run through every single diner. Whoopsies. Using this classic for loop. And then for each diner, we'll use the set total text method. And I'll use two arguments, and they can be tip percent value and tax percent value. And we'll use this method to set the text down here for each and every diner. And of course, we don't actually have this method in our diner class yet, so let's go ahead and make it. Go there and create a new method called set total text. And it'll take two double parameters. One is the tip and the other is the tax. And I'll use these two numbers to create the total bill for a customer. And it's going to be pretty easy. It's just going to set the set the text for TV split bill, and it's going to set it equal to total times 1 plus the tip plus total times tip. Or sorry, total times tax. Okay. So the tip here again is going to be the tip percent value, and the tax is going to be the tax percent value. So what we're going to set the tax equal to, so let's say we have customer 1. The total for customer 1 is 10, okay? And we're going to multiply that by 1 times the tip. In this case, that's 0%, so we don't have to worry about that. And then we're going to add that to that. We're going to add the total times the tax. And again, the tax percent value would be 10 divided by 50. Which this 10 is not the customer 1's order, it's the total tax divided by the total sum of the orders. And this formula will give us the correct total bill that incorporates both tip and tax. So customer 1 should have $12 for his share of the bill. So let's go ahead and run to make sure. And while we're waiting, what we did again is we created a double to keep track of the percentage of the tax. And then whenever we calculated the grand total, we calculated the tax percent. And then for each diner list, we ran code that incorporates the tip and the tax to calculate the final total for each diner. Okay, let's go with the same numbers. Doesn't look like it's working for some reason. Okay, let's investigate. Set total tax to blah blah blah. I'm not sure why it's not working. Oh, sorry, we haven't put in the value for tax yet, that's why. Okay, let's put in the value for tax. And boom. Oh, and we used the wrong number for customer 2, it's $40. Okay, boom. $12 and $48, grand total $60. All very accurate. Okay, I'm gonna continue with this video. There's one more thing I want to take care of while we're doing this. So you'll notice that we have a TV split bill.set text here and one up here. Now let's see what happens when, or how this exactly works. So let's say we just lost focus on an edit text for an order. We go and run the update total for that order, and that does all this stuff, and then it sets the split bill. And then once that method is done, we do calculate grand total, and then grand total does all this stuff, and then it goes ahead and calls the set total text on all the diners. So it goes back and it sets the bill again. In other words, before the user does anything, it sets the bill twice. It sets it without the tax over here, and then it sets it with the tip and the tax down here. So that's kind of like a waste of time. We don't need to set it to without the tax up here at all, so we can just delete that line, is basically what I'm getting to. And you'll notice that this line is the only part in this entire method that uses the tip. So if we are going to delete this line, we might as well delete this parameter. Okay, so we deleted that parameter, and that means we need to change the method calls over here. So let's change this to just v, remove tip percent value. Now let's go back and look at this. So in the past, we used update total in order to update both the total for the diner, the internal double that the user can't see, as well as the TV split dollar, or is that what it's called? Yeah, the TV split bill down here. We use it to update the text view as well as the double called total. Now though, we have a separate method called set total text, and that is used specifically to set the TV split bill, which means our update total method no longer is useful for setting the bottom down here. And since that's the case, we don't really need to use it anymore to calculate the tip. Its sole purpose really at this point is to calculate this total, and that's what it does. So let's go, okay, and then we also have this overloaded version of this here. Why do we have this overloaded version of the method? We use that overloaded version right here in the onProgressChange method. We use that whenever the user moves this little slider thing. And so when the user does that, it goes through the entire diner list and uses their update total. And then it gives it a tip percentage value. The thing is, again, we're not updating the tip anymore when we change or when we use update total. All update total does is update based on all it deals with is the order text at this point. It no longer does anything with tip. So this entire method here is kind of pointless now, because we have calc grand total right underneath it, and calc grand total is the thing that goes through every single diner and sets the total text using the tip and the tax. In other words, we do not need this method at all, so we can remove it. Hopefully this is starting to make some sense. If not, again, I keep saying this, but my website has probably a more well thought out explanation of everything, mostly just because I don't have to think about what I'm saying on the spot. Okay, but anyway, we do not need this for loop anymore, because we're not using this to set the, or to do anything with the tip. We're using update total to only mess with the total variable. And since we deleted that, we have this overloaded method here that we used for updating the tip before, and that's kind of completely useless at this point. We don't need it at all anymore. Rather than deleting it entirely, I suggest you do something like this. Make a comment saying, we used to need this overloaded method, but now we don't. And then just go ahead and put the comment slashes in front of everything here. And this way, you know, it won't affect your programming or your code in any way as far as the computer is concerned, but you also always have this little bit here to remind you what you used to do to take care of the tip problem. And it'll remind you what overloading means, because I mean that's the main reason I even introduced this this right here. It was just so that I could fit in overloading into this tutorial, even though ultimately we end up not having to use it at all. Okay, anyway, so that's all good and fine, and yeah, I guess I'll see you guys in the next video. Yeah, this video is getting a bit long, so I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.